네, 배우를 직접 마주보고서 꼼꼼히 살펴보고서 이야기를 나눠보고서 심층 보고해드립니다. 백은하의 배우 보고서 오늘의 연구대상은 배우 존조 씨입니다. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, welcome back to Korea.
Thank you. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요. I'm Una from OLED TV, and it's really good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, first of all, could you say hello to our OLED TV viewers and your crazy Korean fans?
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. John Cho입니다. I'm here. I'm going to switch to English. I'm here to promote searching, and I just want to say to all my fans here in Korea and to really thank them from the bottom of my heart to make this a successful film in my home country. It's a tremendous honor for me that people from Korea took to this film and made it a success here. It is very personally meaningful to me.
I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, sweetheart. Where are you?
Study group. I'm gonna go all night.
Oh, one more thing. I want to know about the final.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm calling to report a missing person.
Okay, who is this regarding? My daughter.
This interview will be divided into the past, present, and the future of actor John Cho. And let's take a look at your current work first. Your recent film, Searching, became a huge success. Almost 3 million people watched in the theater in Korea. And it has also hit the VOD market, including OLED TV. And congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel? I mean, did you expect it to be so popular?
I had hoped, to be honest, it was one of my sincere hopes that it would find an audience here. And I thought there was a very outside chance that it might because this country is so wired and that, you know, the film takes place on screens, and I thought that that might have that sort of visual vocabulary might be meaningful to a Korean audience more than it might be to another audience. And historically, films starring Korean Americans have not, it's not been necessarily a market here.
Yeah.
And so I had a question mark, but it was my sincere hope that that might be meaningful to them as well, to the Korean audience. Because it was meaningful to us when we were making it, that it was a Korean American family.
You say cheese. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Your character were mostly young and dateable and adventurous man, and you seems to have always played the traveling character in your entire films. I love the Columbus, by the way.
Thank you.
And but this film, Searching, you are a settler. Finally,
Oh, very interesting.
you play your father, right? Was it natural change for you?
A little earlier than I would have liked. Yeah, it felt natural. I don't know that. Yes, I am a father in real life, so it was natural to me to tap into that emotion for a family. But not that it takes a whole lot of imagination to imagine what it might be like to be a father whose child goes missing. Even if we're not parents, we are all part of a family, and so those stakes are very clear and very intense. So that wasn't particularly hard part of the performance. It was really the formal aspects, you know, shooting to a web camera, all that stuff. That was much harder than imagining that my daughter went missing.
The director of Searching, Anishi Chakanti.
Yes.
Yeah, it's such an intelligent young man. He was born in 1991.
Oof.
What was it like working with someone from the new generation? How he inspired you while shooting this film?
You know, I don't think anyone older, anyone of my generation could have told this story because of the sort of cinematic language that it had to employ. It was sort of breaking new ground. And it required a generational openness to the internet as well.
Yeah.
And so it was, I enjoyed working with him. First, with any director, I think for me, the most important connection is one, excitement over storytelling. You know, I said no to the movie at first because I didn't think that this movie was possible. And then he convinced me that, and I also didn't want to make a YouTube video. I wanted to make a movie. And when we met again, he convinced me that we were going to make something that looked different but would feel like a traditional movie. And so to that end, he was going to focus on the technical aspects, and my job and what we were going to focus on as it related to me was making a character, focusing on the emotional beats and making sure those felt authentic and real. And I felt that if we could do that, then the non-traditional part, the part that took place on screens, would feel familiar.
It works.
Thank you.
And next, let's have a look at your early life and career.
Okay.
What was the last memory of or an unforgettable moment of Korea?
I remember I told my friend, and I can't remember his name now. I told him, hey, I'm moving to America. And I remember he said, oh yeah, me too. And I said, oh great, I'll see you there. And so I remember we landed in Nashville, Tennessee, and driving to our friend's house from the airport in America, and I was looking out the window, looking for my friend to see whether I could see my Korean friend on the streets. So that's the last thing I remember.
Oh my God, that's a lovely one. I think you are a comedic genius, and I
Thank
love
you.
your subtle face expression when you act in comedies such as Harold and Kumar series. For you, what is humor? How would you define comedy?
Oh, the thing I find always the funniest in comedy is when the comedic character is completely serious.
Yeah.
And so when they are completely serious about doing something completely ridiculous is the best. What's wrong, drama is completely serious you're completely serious about a completely serious thing. And what's bad comedy is a not serious person doing something not serious. But when a serious person is you're serious about doing something ridiculous, it's really funny.
And what is it like being a part of the Star Trek franchise? Did you find it overwhelming?
Yes. You know what's Star Trek has a long history, and so there's a lot of different generations of admiration and love for the franchise. So that you carry a little bit of weight coming into it. Obviously, I'm not the lead actor or the writer or director, so a lot of that is off of me. But yes, there are expectations and weight to it, and I want to take it seriously, but also have fun with it. But what's great about the Star Trek series, from my perspective, is that it's a very special expression of American popular culture. So it was a mission in space that was diversity, it was commitment to science and exploration and peace rather than conquering. So it's a really kind of different expression of American might, that it wasn't going out there conquering lands, but rather exploring and making relationships with different alien cultures. And so I feel like I've always been honored to be associated with it because I think it is it's one of the best expressions of American popular culture there is.
And in Harold and Kumar, Escape from Guantanamo Bay, we met the worst Korean translator he speaks like a
Yeah,
네 아들이 거기서 뭐 하고 있는지 something like that.
네가 아들이 거기 가서 뭘 하고 안 한 줄 알아.
But it was a decade ago, right? Do you feel there has been much progress in how Hollywood treat Asian actor and depict the Asian characters?
Yes. You know, there has been, you know, a lot of progress, and I feel like that has to do with Hollywood is very late to change.
Oh, yeah.
It is, the people have always been much further ahead than the decision makers in Hollywood. But yes, they are coming around. It really has to do with the economics of our business and the fact that it is globalized in a way that it wasn't 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so people are paying attention. It also coincides with a lot of talent coming to the fore, both in front of the camera and behind the camera.
Including you?
Including me, thank you. And lastly, you know, this is the part that I'm really excited about, and the reason that I'm optimistic in a way that I was not before. You know, I've been talking with other Asian American actors that I admire, and sort of taking the temperature of what's going on in the business. And what I'm glad about is that, you know, there's a moment here. I recognize that there's a moment, and I think there's a common impulse to not make the next step about pleasing the decision makers in Hollywood and saying, oh, well, let's replicate the success. Whatever you want us to do, we will do. But rather to look inward and say, what stories do we want to tell? And that doesn't necessarily have to do with our culture, because we have but it can be if we wanted to. But really taking the agency inward and saying, let's use the opportunity to tell the stories that we want to do.
And finally, let's take a look at your future. Is there anything you would like to do in next decade?
My hope for the next 10 years of my life is really to continue to do work with directors that I admire.
Such as?
You know, they're all, there's so many, but when I was younger, I think I was trying to look inward and trying to give a great performance, or trying to, I'm sorry, I thought of it as a job, but now I think of it as much more of a collaboration and working with the cast and crew and the director at the top to make a story. And I really didn't see it that way before, because I'm a slow learner. Yes, and it's so. The satisfaction now, I thought it was really doing, the satisfaction when I was younger came from doing my job, but really the satisfaction is working in concert with a group of people to make something much bigger than you could have done on your own. And so I know that's a small difference, but I thought it was me doing this job, but really it's us doing this big job. And that is a mental shift that sort of makes all the difference in the world.
Working with any Korean director?
Yeah, that would be, gosh. Yes, and
Like Steven, I mean.
yeah, did you see Burning?
Yeah.
It's
a wonderful.
It's a work of art.
Yeah.
That I would like to, you know, whether it's Park Chan-wook or Lee Chang-dong or any one of the masters, if we have a story to tell together, I would be honored. I really would be, for a lot of reasons. And then lastly, it would really excite me to build a cinematic relationship, a model of a film that could work on in two countries. That would really please me if there were a model of filmmaking that wherein one could say this film is viable in the United States and viable in Korea. If that were a genre that could be explored, that would be tremendous, and it would make me very happy. And obviously, I would try and work in any film that worked in that genre.
Call to Jeonjo.
Yeah, call me.
And now it's time to read the line of my future report about Jeonjo.
This is like a fortune teller reading.
Yes, Jeonjo, the actor who had infinite treasure to search for and countless territory to explore.
Wow.
I think the audience, including me, have only seen a limited the part of the Jeonjo's value as an actor so far. So we'd love to keep searching and exploring you and through your next works.
Thank you. Wow, what a way to end an interview.
I have a sexy story to run my fingers